Hey, and welcome to Food Safety Guides. Today we're going to take a look at how to build a floor plan and then how to incorporate the data from your environmental monitoring program into that floor plan. So let's take a spin. We're going to be using Lucidchart and Google Sheets for this demonstration. As you can see here, I already have a floor plan. I'm going to show you real quick just how we create that. Um, all right, the way you're going to do it is, this is the canvas. This is the shape library over here. I'm going to scroll down. I've already expanded my shape library to include rooms. So I'm going to then use the green arrows, expand the size of the room, drag in some new shapes. You'll see the walls blend. And if I want to add some doors, that door looks really big. Let's make it small. Okay, maybe a little walk-in space for a hallway. Another, we can add equipment. Here's a little wall. Okay, and maybe it's at an angle, unusual, but let's do it. And then some equipment, but I'm not going to spend much time on this because what we want to look at is, now how do here I have a surface. Let's say it's a knife rack on the wall, and I want to include this in my environmental monitoring program, and I want to broadcast the data here. So the way we're going to do that is by going to this little icon over here, below the shape library icon, and that's the data link. Now I haven't linked any data yet, so I'm going to link my data, and here I want to import my data. So you can use Excel, CSV. I'm going to use a Google Sheet just for simplicity right now, and choose File. Okay, I'm going to find the one of interest. Okay, here's the one I'm going to use. Now you can select from which tab you want. Now I'm going to be using a tab where it's a sum of all the tests for each surface. So I have a list of unique surfaces and the number of tests that have been done on that surface over the last 12 months. And it's broken up into positives and negatives. So for this, I'm going to choose report E1, and it's going to import my data. So this is going to take just a moment. There it is. Okay, now it wants me to select a header row. Well, that's number one. Next. Next is a unique key. Now I mentioned that I have unique surface IDs, and that's going to be column A. So I'm going to finish there. Okay, now the data is populated here. I can pop out that data if I want to. I can also manage it and refresh it. So if you are updating this spreadsheet over time, you can refresh the broadcasting of this data in the diagram. So now this is going to be my knife rack, which is zone 1, so Z101. It's the first in the list of zone 1 surfaces for this room. Now I'm going to drag it and release it. Now you'll notice that the data hasn't populated. So I'll make myself a little smaller here. But on the right-hand panel here, I have Z1 and Z101 in my selected shape data. I want to be able to show it. Now, I can do that by hovering over this plus T, and boom, it's in there. Now, let's say I wanted to include all of the data, the sum of negatives, sum of positives, and the incidence. I could create individual text below it if I'd like to add some color. So I would go grab my text here. Let's make it a little smaller, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little more clearly. Okay, so I want this one to be my negatives and my positives. Again, you can put it all in the same cell if you wanted to, but let's go back to our shape. And here I want it to be the sum of negatives. Okay. Next, I'm going to hit the plus T. Okay, and you'll notice that the text got in the way. And that's an easy fix. You can just delete text there. Okay, and what I like doing is adding a little color, as I mentioned before. So I'm going to make it blue. Okay, same thing can be done for the negatives. So here I can just, like I did before, drag it over. And this one I want to make red. And so I'll add the positive. And there we are. And something you can do is also add incidence percentage. So you don't have to put all the data in there, but that's a way of identifying each individual distinct surface in your floor plan and then having the data populated. Once you make that connection, you don't have to make that connection again. It'll auto-populate as you refresh your data. Another cool thing here is adding pictures. So I want to add a picture to the surface. So I'm going to go ahead and select this screenshot I took of a knife. And let's take a moment to load, as you can see down here. And once it's inserted, that means that whenever I jump into this document, I can go take a closer look at what it is I'm testing. And in that way, you can create, as my business partner did, a pretty detailed map as to how you're performing on your environmental monitoring. So I hope you enjoyed this short lesson. For more tips, subscribe to Food Safety Guides.